Yeah, we are. Cool. So we are recording, everybody, just so you know. So in the 5-minute friend, here's what we're doing. This is the opportunity for our customers to get to know us, okay? It's also our opportunity for us to get to know our customer, okay? If anybody can remember, I'll give you a couple seconds here. There's something I've talked about before, and that no versus no. Something happens. It's something I learned from Grant Cardone a long time ago, but something happens in that. And if you know it, if you want to comment it, that's fine. But during this time, this is where we get to know our customers, okay, right? There's only really 1 or 2 reasons that our customers are going to buy from us, right? They're either going to fall in love with something or we're going to solve a problem for them. And usually we narrow that down to one specific thing. So during that friend time, during that information gathering time, we're getting to know our customers, okay? So again, I learned this from Grant a long time ago, and he says that anytime you get a no, there's something you don't know, K-N-O-W, okay? So a lot of times when we're getting down to the end of the deal and we've gone through everything and we're getting no, they're telling us they want to think about it. It's because during that beginning stages, during those intro, that kind of warm-up stage, there was something about us they just didn't know, all right? It didn't quite feel right, okay? Let's be honest, guys. If you listen to the training, we're being judged, okay? The people are judging us. And so when we pull up to the house, when they enter our showroom, when we pull up to their business, they're judging us. They're looking at us. They're talking about us. They're whispering behind. They're doing these things about us. And we need to spend some time kind of breaking that wall down, okay? I do an illustration where I show, I'll kind of go through this, right? I'll pull a piece of paper out and show you. But I do this illustration in our office a lot. If any of you ever get a chance to come in there, let me write this out here. So I'm going to write these out kind of scribbly so you don't need to see them. But imagine this. If you can see this, here's our steps to the sale, okay? 5-minute friend, fact finding, product presentation, price presentation, close, okay? These are the steps to the sale. What you have to understand is that there is a wall right now between me and you, all right? I'm your customer. All right, I'll put this down. I'm your customer. You're trying to sell me something. You're either trying to sell me a product, a service, or you're trying to get me to sign up for something with you, okay? Some of you are in network marketing, so you're trying to get people in as a distributor, okay? So there's a wall up, okay? Whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you think it's not polite, there's a wall up, okay? So what you need to understand is that the opportunity for you to get to me, you need to get to my heart here, okay? You need to get me to pull out my wallet and give you my credit card. And the only way to do that is to break this wall down, okay? So if you go into the middle here and you just shoot for price right away, or you just shoot for product demonstration, you just go right for pitching your deal, it's never gonna happen, okay? Because it's in the middle. There's too much force here. So what we need to do is we need to spend time in this first step, which is the product, or which is the 5-minute friend, to break down that wall. Here's what happens. Right now, you can't even see my lips. You don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know what I'm saying. You can't even hear me talking, okay? The second we get through this 5-minute friend, watch how cool this is. We just got through the 5-minute friend. Guess what? It's gone. Look, now you can see my eyes. All right, you can start to kind of feel me a little bit. You can't get to the deal. Just because we're friends doesn't mean you're going to close, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But after the 5-minute friend, we're kind of on a different level now. You could see me. I'm kind of warming up to you. Things are better. In fact, if you picture this as a wall between you and your customer, a physical brick wall, the second that 5-minute friend section goes down, I can actually kind of peek over. I could see the deal, all right? I could start to tell these people like me. They trust me. Does not mean necessarily that they're going to give me their money yet, but I do know that if I can get them to like me, if I can get them to trust me, if I get them to believe that I'm an expert, if I get them to believe that the company I work with is a real company that makes sense, the second that happens, I can kind of see the deal, right? Think about this. How did you all meet me? Most of you met me because you started doing one thing, right? If you want to put there how you met me, comment in the chat bar here. I could see some of these comments. It looks like some of them are coming through private. But if you want to comment in there, how did you meet me? You might have saw me on Facebook for the first time, right? Larry, obviously I see Larry on Mom, I gave birth to you. Pool shake up, Larry, that's right. So you guys, Mom, you don't count. but you do count though, because you're obviously using the product, and I appreciate that. But the reality is that a lot of you watched me on Facebook for a while, right? So those of you that are in a business where you have a really heavy online presence, right? So Allison, you saw me you saw me on the LipSense group. So think about this. I didn't come to you just blurting out all of the things that I can do for you, right? I didn't come to you telling you that I had a product to sell, that I could do this. I let you first see me and let you first get to know me. I shared with you my story. I shared with you, I let you see my home. I let you see my kids, So the point is that a little bit of this, if you could go back to the way that you met me, Mom, you don't count, Larry, you don't count, because you guys have known me for a long time. But for the other 45, 50, however many of you are on here, think about the way that you got to know me. You probably first saw me on Facebook. You might have saw me, or you saw me on Facebook, you saw me at a live event, maybe I came and spoke at your business, okay? But you saw me for the first time, and the first thing you did was you judged me. Some of you might have been very open to that. Some of you might have been like, who is this guy? What's he got? What does he know, right? And so that's why I come to you with my guard down. I come to you with open arms. Listen, this is who I am. This is what I've done. If you understand what I'm saying, if you can comment yes, just let me know that you're following me. I want you to think about that. It's very important. That initial interaction with people a lot of times is really the way that the entire relationship goes, all right? Mike Barnett's a good example. Me and Mike have become really good friends. I consider Mike one of my best friends now. When I first met Mike, he didn't know anything about my business or what I did. We sat down and had dinner. We just met, had dinner, had a beer, and got to know each other, okay? It's something that you really can apply in every area of your life. You cannot come in too strong, okay? So listen, guys, if you're in a business where you're going directly to consumer, okay, I'll kind of address all the different areas of people that are on here. If you're going to a business where you go directly to consumer, you need to spend some time really getting them to know you, okay? Remember, K-N-O-W. The more they can K-N-O-W, the more they will know, the less likely they are to say N-O to you, okay? Remember that. The more they get to know you, the less likely you are to later on get objections, okay? So if you're going into their home, when you walk up to someone's house, you walk up to someone's business, it's tough. You're going to need some practice with this. But what you need to do is you need to have a really good approach. We'll talk about that in the third section here. But you need to find a way that you can, with open arms and with a polite face, with polite manners, allow them to get to know you. Here's the other thing that's important. You need to get to know your customer as well. This is an area that I think people miss big time, okay? People are very focused on getting to know the customer. They're very focused on allowing the customer to get to know them. In fact, one of the areas that I think people go wrong, which I'll talk about in a minute, is they think that the customer needs to know way more about them than they really need to know. But nevertheless, the focus is on sharing information about myself, information about myself, information about myself. The other really important part of this, though, is this is an opportunity for you to get to know your customer, okay? I'm going to share a story with you real quick. This just came to me. This isn't in my notes. It's going to add a minute and a half to the agenda. But about 10 years ago, I used to go, the company that I owned was called Midwest Fire Safety, and we did residential fire protection. I worked directly with the Amish community, and I had a referral. So this is a guy that knew someone that was a customer of ours. I'm huge on referrals, and I'm going to talk about that on another training, not next week, but the following week, we're going to talk about referrals. But I got a referral. So this is someone who is directly related to several customers of mine, okay? I should know this guy better than anybody. They gave me his name, his address, how to get a hold of him. I set up an appointment, and he asked me to come over at 2 o'clock, let's just say in the afternoon. So here's what happened. I think I know this guy, right? I know his brother. I know his dad. This should be a slam dunk home run. How many of you have ever had that before, where a referral, a friend of a friend of a friend, is now interested in what you're doing? They're interested in your products. So in my mind, this is a slam dunk deal. Now, I will say this. I was pretty committed to a process back then, so I didn't mess this up. I'll give you a little teaser. The deal ends well for me, but here's where it could have gone wrong. I go up to his house. I knock on the door. The guy answers the door, and he has a terrible stutter. Okay, his wife answers. Actually, they answered the door together. He approached me first, and then his wife kind of interjected. No one ever told me that this guy had not just a stutter, but almost like a paralyzing stutter, where he couldn't get words out when he got nervous. Okay, so this guy comes to the door, and he's like, very, very heavily stuttering. His wife interjects. We get to know each other. Now, as a salesman who already knows that his family is a customer, multiple members of his families are customers, they've told me to go talk to him. He's already communicated with them about the fact that he wants to do business, that he may want to do business with us. How easy would it be for me to just go right in and start getting the product, right? Just go right in and just start analyzing their house and getting to what we do. But I was committed to my process. And as I walked in, I noticed that he had a little bit of a thing. I could tell that he was very uncomfortable. And she was looking at him and looking at me. Rather than getting uncomfortable, I acted as if his little bit of stutter, which was a really big stutter actually, I acted as if it wasn't really a big deal. I totally discounted it as something I didn't even notice, and I talked to them like they were normal people. I asked them about their house. I asked them about his kids. I didn't ask him about his stutter, by the way, but I asked them about things about them. I started to get their guard down. I started to pet their dog, okay? For those of you that are in people's homes, I was down kind of wrestling around with them. I was becoming friends with them, all right? If you're in an online business, this might not directly apply to you. I want you to be thinking about how this could apply to you and your business. After a few minutes, I found out from them that he was hurt when he was a kid. Something happened to him as a child, and he's developed this really, really heavy stutter, paralyzing stutter, but only when he's nervous. And what his wife said to me is that all of a sudden he started talking and it was getting a little better. It was getting a little better. And she's like, wow, that's really crazy. He only really does that when he's nervous. And he's like, I'm fine now. It's just when I get nervous. And he started telling me that the reason at the beginning he stuttered was because he was nervous. So what did I do as a disciplined salesman? I listened to that. I thought, wow, he was really nervous when I got to the door, right? Why would he be nervous? Okay, I'm not there to hurt him. He's bigger than me. He could kick me out of his house if he wanted to. But he was nervous maybe because he thought he might buy something. Maybe he was nervous because sales is kind of weird, right? Some of these people that you're interacting with, they get nervous when they talk to you. They may have been super normal on Facebook, and then the second you talk to them in real life, nerves start to kick in. So I knew that. And all of a sudden, this guy was calming down. So I went through the process. I became friends with him. We talked about things completely unrelated to the product, and we moved on to the next step. Now, here's what's really interesting, guys. I want you to just really think about this. When I got down to price later on and we started talking about the terms and how he's going to afford it, guess what came back up? Guess what started to happen again? His stutter. Yeah, his stutter came back later on in the deal. So because I paid attention in that friend stage, because at one point during the deal I got his guard down, now all of a sudden this very obvious trigger that there's nerves, I knew that he was getting nervous. So what does that mean for me? Well, that means that we're getting close to a deal, all right? Nerves in the close is a good thing. It means that he's probably going to say yes. Here's the point, guys. Had I not spent the time in the beginning, he may have gotten so embarrassed. He may have gotten so worked up about that we never got to a deal. So I know that's kind of a rant, but I want you to think about this. If you watch this video to the end, I want you to come back to this section and listen to this part of the video, because that right there was one of the points in my life where I was like, wow, I'm glad I followed the steps. I'm really glad that I was committed to that, because if I hadn't, I may not have had the deal. What else could have happened if I didn't do that? Okay, so number one, I wouldn't have had the deal. Number two, he may have actually gotten embarrassed and told his dad and his brother that he didn't buy from me because he felt, you know what I mean? It could have turned into something bad, but instead I became a friend with him, all right? He felt comfortable with me. He got a little nervous later, but it didn't mean no. It meant that we were okay. We'll talk about all those other things later. So guys, the friend is super, super, super important. You need to get to know them. Online marketers, network marketers, people with online businesses. Let me tell you something. Your friend stage, your 5-minute friend stage is your Facebook page, okay? Let me say that again. Your 5-minute friend is your Facebook page. Your Facebook page has to be an opportunity for people to quickly look and get a quick judgment of you, okay? Let me give you a couple examples of things not to do, all right? Stay out of politics if you're in a position where people are going to look at your page, because you don't know what view people might have. Stay out of politics. Keep it positive. Don't post things that might gross people out or turn people off. You got to be positive. If your Facebook page is your storefront, if it's your business, you need to make sure that that page right there is your 5-minute friend. That's the stage where people get to know you really quickly. That's the stage where people get to see, does this person know what they're talking about? If I'm going to tell them I'm an expert in something, I better be able to back it up, okay? So those are just a couple things. I can go into more detail about this later. If you guys want more information, please feel free to comment, message, email myself or Casey. Let us know. Let me just quickly go to Facebook real quick and see if we have any questions that I'm missing here. Let's see here real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Casey, I'm not sure if you could tag me. I'm not sure where that. There we go. No, that's not it. If we're live on Facebook, Casey, let me know so I can hop in there if we need to be. Real quick. Okay, cool. So, okay, cool. No problem. We don't have to worry about that. Actually, I think I'm the one that would have to go live. But anyway, let's move on. Number 2, we're going to talk about where do people go wrong in the 5-minute friend. Okay, there's really only a couple ways that you can mess this up, but there are a few things that can happen that can really, really mess up your deal. Okay. Number 1, the first thing that I think happens is that you assume that because someone that they know did business with you, that they're going to trust you. Okay. So let me say that again. You assume that because they did business, someone that they know did business with you, or maybe even they did business with you in the past. You assume that because that happened that you don't have to get to know them again. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at questions here. I had people commenting some questions here on my phone. Okay, so you assume that. The other thing is that you assume because they know your company, maybe they saw you at a trade show, maybe they saw your booth at a fair. I know a lot of you are doing things like that. Maybe they saw your Facebook page or they've messaged you. One of the ways that you can really mess this up is you assume that because that happened, you don't have to refriend them. I'm going to use Mike Barnett as an example here. So you're in a business where most people know your business. Okay, we see your vans around. I know your company already. It's actually a national company. A lot of people know it. It could be easy for you to come in or for one of your guys to go into a home and just assume that the people are going to want to do business with you because everybody knows who your company is. Okay, here's the thing: people need to trust 3 things in order to do business with you. Number 1, they need to trust your product. So in your case, Mike, they're going to trust your product. It's kind of an obvious one most of the time. Number 2, they need to trust your company. Okay. So for a lot of you, I know some of you said that they're LipSense. Your product is awesome. Your company has a great reputation. Okay. So if someone says, I heard of LipSense, I heard that the product's great, that should be easy. Well, dude, they have to trust you too. It's 3 ways. Okay. There is no connection between myself and Mr. Rooter Plumbing. There's no connection between myself and LipSense. There's no connection between myself and ADT Wireless. There's no connection. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of others of you on here, but I'm just giving you examples. The connection between me and that corporation is just that's a big business, okay? Regardless of the size of the company, I don't have a real personal connection with that. So that's why it's important for you to really tackle those 3 things. If they've asked you out based on an ad that they saw on Facebook or an ad that you ran in the paper, something that you've done, an event that you've done, a party that you've done, if they've asked it to communicate with you, don't ever assume that they know enough to ultimately say yes to you, okay? Let me give you one example. I've been very interested in products before, very, very interested. In fact, so interested that Jenny and I went to a place to buy a product, willing to pay cash for it, willing to sign on the dotted line right now. They had the product that I want. I could take it home with me today. And the salesperson didn't really take the time to get to know me, to really get to know why I wanted it. They didn't ask me any questions, and I left. Okay, so here's what you have to do. You have to ask questions to your customer. You have to ask questions about them, and we'll talk about this in a minute more. But you have to show some interest in them, okay? You need to spend some time, not just assuming that they know everything, but even if they know a little bit, you need to take some time letting them get to know you and allowing yourself to get to know them too. So number 1, don't assume that they know you enough because they already know your company, okay? That's the first mistake. Number 2, probably the biggest mistake that I see, I don't know, these next 2 are pretty close. But number 2 is that you talk about yourself too much, okay? Huge, huge mistake, guys. I don't want to say nobody cares, but they don't care as much as you think they do, okay? I could see this happening in a lot of different scenarios. I could see people thinking that because we said 5-minute friend is the time where they get to know about you more, that you take that as you need to vomit on them and just beat them up over it. It's not the case. What we really want them to know, what they want to see from you, is that you care about them. Okay, that's the big thing. How can you show me that you care about me more than asking me questions about me? Asking me questions about my situation that can lead me to believe that you can help me with my situation. Remember, I'm either going to fall in love or you're going to solve a problem. So if you're asking me questions about myself and my family and my home and my situation and what I do, when you're asking that, it makes me think that you actually like me. It makes me think that you actually are interested in doing the right thing for me, okay? When people come in and they just want to tell me everything about them and all the things that they've done, it kind of turns me off, okay? If you've ever experienced this, comment in there if you've experienced this. If this is something that's happened to you, or if you agree with this, say yes. If you don't agree with it, tell me no, or ask a question. I'd love some feedback on this. But the reality is that, guys, when you're dealing with a salesperson, and look, that's what we are. We're salespeople. When you're dealing with a salesperson, you want to know that they care about you. What's the word I'm using, guys? I'm using know all the time. K-N-O-W, right? I want to know that you care about my needs. Darren, I'll use you as an example. Had you come to me with your product, I've spent money with Darren. We've done business together before. Darren asked me what I wanted. He said, what's important to you? What colors do you like? How long do you want it up? Have you ever done this before? How long, if you were to do this, how much would you want to do? Where he asked me questions that let me know that he wasn't so much interested in just selling me a product. He was interested in making me fall in love with this product or solving a problem that I had. He found out pretty quickly that I loved certain color. We're talking about lighting here because he did all of our holiday lights. But we found out pretty quickly that I liked certain colors. I wanted to be a hero to my daughters, and I didn't want to get on a freaking ladder. That's it. It was super simple. But had he come in and just been like, yeah, we do this, this, and this, and I've done this. Let me show you all the people that I've done. Oh, dude, I'd have been like, I would have gotten turned off. I probably would have got a phone call, and I would have gotten sidetracked. So the point is, guys, don't talk about yourself too much. Ask them questions about them. Get them talking to you. You want your customers to be just puking information. You want to find yourself in a scenario where they're just going on and on and on and on and on and on and on about themselves, okay? If you find yourself in a situation where your customer's doing this, oh, that's nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, all right. If you find yourself in that situation, you've made a mistake, okay? You're talking too much. If you find yourself in this scenario, blah, 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 yeah, blah, and you're just like, oh my gosh, will they shut up? Bingo, you're on the right track, okay? You need to do something important. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but that's where you want to be. You want to get them just talking about themselves. In the 5-minute friend stage, we really want them talking about things totally unrelated to our product to a degree that guard is down, right? Remember back to this. I want this wall, my main goal, oops, where'd it go? Yeah. My main goal is to go boom, down, all right? However I got to get there. However long it takes, I need this down, okay? So the number three reason that I see people make them, and the number three mistake that I see people make is they stay in this section, this zone too long, okay? How many of you have ever gotten real friendly with a customer or a potential customer? You've been going back and forth on Facebook through Messenger. Maybe you're face-to-face with them, and now you're talking, and 20, 30 minutes have gone by, and now we're just like totally off track. If that's ever happened to you, say yes, say I. Give me something there. How often does that, give me just a second on that, Casey. But if you've had that happen, say yes, say I, let me know. How often have you ever been in a situation where you're with a customer and all of a sudden it's like, shit, where are we even talking about? Why am I talking about all this stuff? So this is a little bit of an interesting situation. Though I want you to get comfortable with your customer, and though I'm going to encourage you to get their guard down and get them talking, you need to know when it's gone on long enough, okay? You are the expert. You are the authority. You are the one in control. You are the one who is ultimately going to help them fall in love or solve the problem, okay? Your inability to, as we call it, if you guys have been in the training, you'll know what it's called. But there's a thing that happens that we talk about. Something happens, if you guys want to comment on this. Something happens where we go from us being super friendly, we're all friends, we're all buddies, to we flip a switch, right? We flip a switch. And now we're still friends, but now it's time to talk business, okay? You can't stay in that for too long. It's really easy for friends to say yes to each other. If Casey came over to me right now and it was like, dude, I want to do this, it's very easy for me to say no to him, right? Yes, dominating buying mode, that's a good example. It's very easy for me to say no to somebody when I'm friends with them. But what I actually am trying to do, what I want to do is I want to get that guard down just low enough to where I can go right into my fact finding, okay? So the key here, guys, is you don't want to stay in the friend too long. Here's some examples, or here's some what would the word be? Some signs that you've stayed in it too long. Oh, we've got the Q&A up here. Oh, cool. We've got 2 of these going on. So there's 2. So here's a sign that you've been in it too long. A sign that you're in it too long is you've gotten so derailed that now if you're dealing with a husband and a wife, now the husband has actually kind of walked off and done his own thing, or the wife has kind of walked off and done their own thing. We're such friends now that, you know what, Bob's got this. She doesn't need me anymore, or he doesn't need me anymore, you know. Or you're dealing with a rep or a girl, or you're talking with someone on Facebook, and you've gone back and forth on something totally unrelated that now maybe you've dug up some other problem in their life. Look, you can't stay there too long. And if you have, you need to figure out ways to, as Tony Robbins says, change their state. We need to get them back in the mode. So we need to learn, and you'll learn some of this techniques in the training here. Just revert back to the training. But we need to learn how to flip that switch and get them back on track, okay? So I'm not going to go into really the action to do it tonight. I more so want you to understand that you can't hang out there too long. If you've got a specific question on this, if there's a specific scenario that you've dealt with, message us and let us help you with that, okay? I don't want you hanging out there too long. I want you to get through that friend stage, get their guard down, and then move on, okay? Let's go to this question here. So we have a question from a member. It says, when I send samples of my product to a prospect, how long should I wait to follow up? And what does that follow-up look like? Great question. So here's what I would suggest. If somebody asks me, why would anybody ask you for a sample? Probably because they have some level of interest, right? So no one's going to ask you for a sample of something unless they're interested. Now, beware or be mindful that they may have actually said, you know, hey, I want a sample because I may not like this about it, or I want to try this about it. If that's what you're talking about, keep in mind that's probably just some kind of resistance thing that they have up as an excuse or an out to say no to you. When people ask to sample your product, when people ask you to do something for them for free because they've had a bad experience in the past or any of that stuff, just know that's usually not true, okay? Most of the time, that's not true. Most of the time, it's what we call an RDR, or a reactionary defense response. Again, that's a Grant Cardone thing. But it's some sort of reactionary thing that they're giving you. It's just like an impulse thing that isn't real. So the answer to your question is, when you send someone samples, how long does it take to apply this product? Let's think about that. If I get a sample from somebody, how quickly am I going to use it? The answer is probably you don't know. So it's 1 week. So you send them a product. So Allison, are you answering your own question? I'm not sure if that was Allison asked it, or if that was Casey, someone else asking it. Okay, so Allison, you're the one that asked it. So if you're giving it to them and you're telling them that they have it for 1 week, the product is theirs for a week. The question is, once they receive that product, when are they going to use it? They're going to put it on right away, or they're going to put it on and use it for a week? Maybe you can answer that in the questions there. Here's what the answer is to this, is that follow-up needs to happen pretty quick, okay? There's a thing called the law of diminishing intent, which means every second, every minute, every hour, and every day that goes by after you've had some sort of stimulation about something, it goes down, okay? I talk about this a little bit, I think, in the training. I do a video on this, but there's been times where I've been super hot on a product, I want to buy it, and then I go and do something else for a day, and all of a sudden it kind of goes away. It's a hair care shampoo, etc. I'm not sure when they will use it. Perfect. That's the answer I was looking for. So here's the real key to this, Allison. When you send that to them, you need to kind of hammer down a day that they're going to try it so that you know when to follow up with them. So an example would be, hey, listen, I'm sending this out to you. It's going out tomorrow, which means you should have it on Friday. When do you think you'll be trying it? So look, just saying, hey, I'm going to send you samples, that's not really effective marketing, okay? That's actually leaving it way too open-ended for them to not really do anything with it, all right? There's also a chance that you could send that to them. In fact, I could probably tell you some sample things that are sitting, I could see one of them actually right now. Sample product, I get stuff sent to me all the time. Unless I'm kind of obligated to use it or I've got some kind of schedule, dude, something comes up and I don't even use it. So Allison, number one, I would say, hey girl, I'm sending this to you. Or, hey man, I'm sending this to you. I'm saying, hey girl, because I know a lot of these are women to women kind of conversations, and I've been seeing your messages you send to each other. But I'm going to send this to you. When do you think you'll be using it? When are you going to try it for the first time? Well, I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow. Okay, cool. So if I send it to you tomorrow, you should have it Friday. Do you think you'll try it Friday night? I'd love to follow up with you Saturday first thing and find out how you liked it. Okay. If it's a product that needs 2 or 3 or 4 applications to see any results, or if it's something that they need to kind of marinate in for a little bit, then you might want to kind of keep that in your timeline. I'd love to if you want, I can have a call with you, or I can talk to you off of this for a second and kind of help you with that. But here's the key though. The big mistake that people are making is that you could be too afraid to like pressure them to use it, right? Don't be afraid for that. You're giving them something for free, okay? Remember, you're doing them a favor. You didn't have to do that. That cost you money. It cost you time, cost you energy. It's not wrong for you to ask them, when are they going to use it, okay? Here's the other thing that starts to happen, Allison. When you say to them, hey, listen, I'm sending this tomorrow. You should have it Friday. I know you are. I figured that. And a lot of people are. It's not just you. I don't even know if I've ever met you in person, but that's a very common thing. But let me tell you something. By you asking that, okay, you're not asking them to buy it, okay? Use this as an opportunity to practice selling them, okay? If you can get her to commit to trying it on the first day, you might be able to get her to commit to buying it on the 4th day, okay? If you are too afraid to ask her to try it on the first day, you're probably going to be too afraid to ask her to buy it on the 3rd day, okay? That's what happens in this. Allison, I want to give you some mad credit for being honest and asking that question the way that you're asking. Most people don't have the courage to ask a question like that. So I want to give you some props for that. But here's the reality. If that makes sense to you guys, the reason why you're nervous about that is because you don't want to be rejected. Look, let me give you something. I heard Brad Lee talk about this the other day. What's your fear? Okay, you want to make bank, right? So what's your fear? Why would you not want to ask that? If you want to answer that, I'll give you a couple seconds here. If you can answer it quick, I need a drink anyway. Why are you nervous to ask that? What are you afraid of? Everybody knows what you're going to write. You're going to write because they might say no to you, right? You're going to write because they might, fear of rejection. They'll think I'm pushy. Well, guess what? You're here to make bank, Allison. No one's making bank that's not pushy, all right? I'm a pretty pushy dude, all right? But none of you have ever felt pushed by me, okay? I've had customers thank me, thank you for not being pushy with me. I can't tell you how many times. In fact, Jay Mejia, one of my top guys, he's a dealer with us. He's been on calls with me in people's houses where they're like, I just want to thank you so much for not being pushy. Guess what? I'm one of the pushiest people you'll ever meet. I just do it in a way that it doesn't feel pushy because I let it be your decision, okay? I don't want anybody to buy anything from me ever that doesn't work, okay? I don't want any of you to be using a product that doesn't work, okay? But I know it will work, but the only way for it to work, the only way that it's going to work for you is for you to have the product, okay? Your products, Allison, will never work for your customer if you don't get them to buy it, okay? They're never going to buy it from you if you don't get them to try it first, okay? So here's a couple things. Number one, you're afraid they're going to say no. You're afraid you won't get the sale. You're afraid they won't want to do business with you. What did you have from them before that? I believe that they are. What did you have from them before that? You didn't have a sale, okay? So you walked up to that customer. In your case, you interacted with them on Facebook. You had nothing, all right? You had literally nothing. You thought you did because you had interaction on Facebook. But look, the reality is you had nothing. You had nothing before that point. So the worst case scenario is that you leave that scenario with the same freaking thing that you started with, nothing. right? So what is it really? It's not real. These are just bullshit emotions that we get. It's just things that just kind of happen. But dude, it's nothing, all right? The worst case scenario in this situation is that you leave the conversation, you leave the negotiating table, you leave the house, you leave with the same freaking thing that you had, okay? You're not leaving with less than you had, all right? Does that make sense? Hope you guys are getting that. That's what you need to understand, is that you're not losing anything. So what is actually to be lost here is that instead you don't ask them to try it. You don't hammer down a time. Hey, listen, I'm going to send this to you tomorrow. I've said this 3 or 4 times. Hopefully you're getting it. I'm going to send this to you tomorrow. It'll be in the mail tomorrow, which means it should be to you by Friday. When are you going to try it? Could I call you Saturday morning? You going to try it first thing Friday afternoon, or will you wait till the evening? You got to ask that question. Here's another thing that happens. If they can't commit to that, well, I don't know. I might get to it this weekend. Dude, what are they going to say to you later when you ask them to buy? You're going to get that same shit later. So let's get it out of the way right now. All right, let's address it right this second. Hey, listen, I'm sending it to you tomorrow. You should have it by Friday. When do you think you're going to try it? Will it be Friday night or Saturday morning? Give them 2 choices. Friday night or Saturday morning? Well, probably, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Perfect. If you did know, would it be Friday night or Saturday morning? Ask them again. All right, get kind of crazy with them. Well, I'll try it Friday night. Perfect. I'm going to call you first thing Saturday morning. I want to hear all about it. I want to know what you think. If you hate it, listen, if you hate it, tell me. I need to know this stuff. Dude, just be open with them. Let them know. If you hate it, tell me, all right? And guess what will happen? They'll try it Friday night. They'll kind of say, hey, you know what? This is cool. And then you go from there, okay? So listen, guys, don't be afraid of that, all right? We've gotten a little off here. But I'm glad. I'd rather do this. I'd rather get these questions answered. If you've got the courage to ask a question right here, I'm going to go into it with you, okay? Because that's what this is about. I want you to be able to get these. I want you to be able to use this as much as you can. But here's the truth, guys. Don't be too afraid to flip that switch on them and start to ask questions. Allison, what happened right here goes right back to what we were saying. You stay in that friend too long. So now you've been friends with them. We've gone back and forth. Yeah, I'll send this to you. Now we're buddies. And now you're like, oh God, I don't want to be too pushy. Dude, guess what? Let's be pushy, bro. Let's do it. Let's get pushy. Let's commit to them. If you're not pushy, let me tell you what happens. Okay. Here's who loses when you're pushy. You're thinking that if you're pushy with her, that now you're not going to get a sale and she won't like you. Okay. She probably doesn't like you anyway. All right. First of all, hopefully she does, but I'm just saying. Here's what happens. Your inability to get them to commit to something, your inability to get out of that friend zone, your inability to move the deal in the right direction, it'll cost you a commission. It might cost you your ego a little bit. But if you really believe in your product, which I know you do, if you really believe in your product, that customer will never have the opportunity to enjoy the benefits, features, services, all the things your product has to offer. So think about that, Darren and Mike and Casey and all you other guys on here. Those are the names right here. Think about that. Your inability to get your customer to take action means that they'll never get to enjoy what I enjoyed this winter, having your products at my home. Mike, your inability to get your customer to allow you to do a service call in their home, to allow them your inability to let them to let your guys go through and find out what's going on in their home could cost them thousands of dollars down the road, okay? That's what happens. So don't let that stuff stop you, okay? You're doing this for their own good, all right? It's almost like not letting your kids play in the street, all right? They might not love it at first, but they'll be real happy when they didn't get hit by a car, okay? It's a really obnoxious example, but you gotta remember that if you believe in your product, you believe in your service, you believe in your company, your inability to do these things will ultimately keep them from doing business with you, okay? So don't let that stop. So number 3, guys, how do we approach our customers the right way every single time? Look, guys, you have to go to your customer as a friend first. I'm sorry, Tiffany, what are you saying? Why do I always have people that show interest, interact, and want to stay in my private groups but never buy? They PM me, they tell me not to remove me because they like my group, but they either don't buy or they take forever. Okay, so here's why. Tiffany, I would bet that you're probably along the way somewhere, one of 2 things. You're either not asking for the sale, you're not actually asking for it. Maybe you think you are, but you're probably not actually asking them to sign up. hey, listen, I'm going to send you over my link. Can we get you signed up tonight? If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong here. If you're actually doing that, please tell me. But let me ask you, when was the last time you said, hey, listen, we've been talking back and forth. I know that you're interested. It seems like you want to do this. I'm sending you over the link right now. Can I get you signed up in the next 20 minutes? When was the last time you asked that? I hope I'm wrong about that so that we can go in another direction with it. But listen, I've dealt with a lot of people that are doing the same business as you. And when I look at their thread conversations, because I have them show me, and I'd love to see one if you have one, show me your conversation. What are we talking about? And then I look back, I'm like, dude, you never even asked for the sale. You think you implied it for sure. They know that you have a product. They kind of know that you want them to buy it, but you never really asked for it. You never actually said, hey, if I send this over to you right now, can we get you signed up? Now, they could say a couple things. I do ask that, but they never say a specific date. Perfect. So we got to keep working on them. Perfect. So maybe what you're saying, if they're not saying a specific date, then I wonder if you're not asking them to do it at a specific time. So if you're saying, hey, I'm going to send this link over to you. I'd love to get you signed up. Can we get you signed up? They'll probably say, sure. Okay, well, when? Yeah, maybe next week. Let me talk to my husband. I got to wait till payday. I got to wait till my dog gives birth. I got to wait till my dog dies. I got to wait. I mean, dude, it's all this blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of crap. It's the same stuff, okay? The question needs to be more specific and direct. Hey, girl, listen, we've been going back and forth. I think you'd be great for this. I know it's going to work great for you. Hey, girl, listen, this is perfect. I'm sending you over the link. Can I get it back in the next 20 minutes? I'm going to stay by my phone here. Can I get you signed up in the next 20 minutes? Dude, it's a little uncomfortable, right? The reason you don't want to do that is because it's kind of awkward, right? But guess what else is awkward? Dragging this shit on forever. Going on and on. It's freaking awkward because now you're like, are they going to do it? Are they not going to do it? It's awkward either way. I'd rather be awkward with a big fat pile of cash in my pocket than be broke and awkward. Okay. They're both kind of uncomfortable. So the reality is that if I were to look back at your messages, I bet you're not being real specific on what you're asking of them. You're actually giving them a way out, right? And then when they tell you, well, my dog has got to give birth first before I do it, you're probably like somewhat agreeing with them. Okay, cool. Well, let me know when your dog dies. I'll be here. Dude, no, like it's not real. Go back to this thing, all right? If their cell phone broke today, if I tossed my iPhone off my deck and lost it in the snow, dude, it's not even broken. I'll find it when the snow melts. But if I can't find it, I'm buying a new one tomorrow. I'm finding the money. I don't care how broke you are, you're finding it, okay? So what it is it's that you're not asking them. Here's the other thing. Sometimes you think that you've identified why this will help them, but you haven't found something that will give them enough pleasure or that will relieve enough pain for them to say yes no matter what. Let me give you an example. If it's a product that you think that they've fallen in love with, if they love the color, they love the feel of it, whatever it is that your product does, they love the lighting, they love your services for people in other industries, you might think that they love it enough, but they haven't found that thing that's going to make their eyes light up and make them get out their checkbook. So checkbooks, no one has checkbooks anymore, but you haven't found that thing yet. If it's something that's solving a problem for them, the problem that you think you're solving doesn't have enough pain for them to say yes. So you need to in your process, and we're going to get to that in the next couple chapters in the course, so you're going to see how that works. But you got to find these problems, these pain areas. You got to find these things. Remember this. I talked about this the other night. I don't know if any of you saw this. I think that salespeople think, this is a good example here. If this is your customer, stupid example, but it works. I think that a lot of you think that when you ask them to do business with you, you're actually doing this because they've told you that they're broke. You think that you've just taken something away from them, right? In your mind, subconsciously, you've taken something away from them. Darren, in your business, you've just taken money away from me, right? You took a big chunk of money out of my bank account that I didn't have before, all right? What you need to be looking at is this is your customer before they do business with you. What you're doing is you're filling something, okay? I know this is super cheesy, but it really, if you can wrap your head around this, it makes a lot of sense. Darren, what you did for me, there was this void here. I wanted lighting. I wanted my daughters to think that it was cool. There's all these things. You didn't take any money from me. You filled a problem that I had, okay? Tiffany, you're not taking any money away. You're not keeping them from going on vacation. You're not keeping them from payday. You're filling a problem. You're solving an emotional or some kind of emotional void that she had. You're helping her feel pretty, whatever it is that you do. Understand that. So stop looking at your business and stop looking at when they finally say yes to you, that they're taking something away. Look at it as that they're already broken. There's already a void, and you're giving it. Yeah, you're right. There's already a void, and you're actually filling that void for them. You have to think of it that way. Okay, that's what's happening. And if it's not, if you're in a business where you're looking at it and you believe that you're actually just taking money from them, well, then you're in the wrong business, right? But I know all of you are in. I know all of your industries, and I know none of you are doing that. So does that make sense, guys? So number one. We have to approach every customer knowing that they're never going to do business with us unless they get their guard down, okay? Ask questions about them. Get them to talk about themselves. Get them to tell us things about them that we need to know. Here's a good question. When you're in that initial stage, when you're just getting friends with somebody, this might be more for people that are in an in-home service or product business. If you get to someone and you're talking to them in the first couple minutes and they're right out of the gates, asking you about price, you might want to give them this question. You might say, well, hey, look, first of all, I don't even know for sure what this will cost, but I don't know if what we do would even make sense to you. I need to first find out if I can even help you, right? So Mike, when you're doing a service call, when they say, well, what's it cost? Well, look, I don't even know if you have any problems. First thing I need to first find out if what we do would even benefit you, Allison, when people say, how much does it cost to be how much does it cost to sign up with you? How much is your price size? Well, it just varies. There's a lot of different things. Let me ask you this. What are you using now? What are you doing now? Who are you with now? What do you love about your product? What is like your favorite, what is your favorite thing about it? You got to just get back to those questions. So in that stage, you just need to find out, you need to spend time getting that guard down, letting them like you, letting them get to know you. Okay. So guys, those are the real things. I hope you got something out of tonight. We're almost done here. I'm going to wrap up with a couple things. If you enjoyed tonight, give me a yes, give me a thumbs up or whatever you can do in that chat bar. I don't know what emojis are available, but if you enjoyed tonight, if you got something out of it, let me know. If you want to have, if you have additional questions, or if you're watching this on a recording, if you've logged into the VT site and now you're watching it and you have specific questions, let us know. Okay. This is 100% for you, okay? I've been at it I'm going on, this is almost 10 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock now. I'm going on my 17th hour today, right? 5 to 5 is 12. I'm on my 17th hour of my day today, okay? I'm going at this hard because I want you to get something out of this. I'm wanting to build a big following and a big group of people that we can help and we can work together through these issues. So a couple things. Number one, if there's something that I didn't answer tonight that you wanted answered, let us know. Give me a message. And excuse me. Let me know how I can help you. Sorry, I'm losing my. Let me know how we could have helped you. If you have a question for a future call, please let us know that too. Sorry, I'm getting all choked up here. But I need your feedback. I really appreciate it. Here's our homework for next week. I want you to think about something, okay? The reason I've talked so much tonight about my day and how busy it was not to just say how busy I was, but I want you to think about your day, okay? Between now and next week when we do this call, I want you to make a list. If you'd like to share that list with me, I'd love for you to do it. You can email it to Casey, or Casey, if you want to post in the emails where to send that to. But I'd love for you to send us a list of areas in your day that you think that you're wasting time, okay? It could be anything. But I want you to go through and think about that. What are areas of your day that you're actually wasting time? If I told you that you only had 40 hours left to work, okay? You only have 40 hours, all right? And that's it. You got 40 more hours left. What would you do with those 40 hours, okay? So number one, I want to know, what are some things that you're doing that's wasting time throughout the day, okay? Where are areas, my notes say, what are areas you could cut some of the bullshit out, all right? What's going on in your day that you're just not being productive? Maybe it's areas that you're just being neutral and not doing anything. Maybe it's areas that you're actually being negative, okay? But make a list of that. I think it's helpful for you to write it down, even though you might not want to. Write it down right now. Share it with us right away, and let's look at that. And I also want you to make a list of areas that you think that you could add productivity. So I want you to go back to this thing, stupid little thing. I want you to look at where's an area that I could pull this out and I could replace it with something that could be massive, okay? Is there something in my day that's just busy that could be replaced with actual work? Next week, we're going to talk about staying busy. We're going to talk about staying productive. I'm going to give you some things that I've done. We're going to talk more about the VT between now and then. I really think that you should hang out in this 5-minute friend stage. I don't know that you should continue to go on past this. If you want to, go ahead. But I think you should go back and maybe, over the next 7 days, break it up and watch each section one more time. Really get this ingrained in you. I want you to remember one thing. You would not go to the gym, all right? Stay with me on this. You would not go to the gym the first day, do 10 push-ups, leave the gym and be like, you know what? I did push-ups, I'm done. What's next? Bench press? Let's do bench press. What's next? That wouldn't make any sense, right? Every day you go and you do push-ups again. Then you do the bench press again. Then you do what you run. Okay, that's what this is. This is building repetition. We're building muscle. We're building this muscle memory, okay? We're working things and we're learning things that we didn't know before. You should be able to recite word for word everything that I say in those first couple chapters. This should become just ingrained in your memory, okay? Next week, we're going to talk about some of these areas that you could be removing some of the bullshit and adding productivity. If you want to go and dance around in the course and look at other videos, I would encourage you to go back and visit a previous Zoom call that we've done. There's going to be several of them uploaded in the next probably 72 hours. So watch a previous call. Go into some of those millionaire mindset things and watch some of those. You're never going to get it all by watching it all. You need to watch one or two and then try to find a way that you can apply them throughout your day, okay? So that's your homework. Between now and next week, I'm going to be watching and I'm going to be seeing what you guys are doing. If anybody goes through and does the whole thing between now and then, though that would be awesome, I'm going to suggest that rather than doing that, you do one section several times over, okay? We want this to become very natural. We're going to start building and building and building on a foundation. We've got a really good start, and it's only going to get better. So, guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you being on here. Do me a big favor. Share my page. Give us some love on Facebook. Let us know that you enjoyed tonight. Share a link to our site. Do anything you can. We really want to get this message out there. I really want to help as many people as possible. And I really hope that tonight added some value to you. So appreciate you guys. Have a great night.